Welcome back to the Captain Sandy and Leah Rae show. Obviously, sitting next to me is not Captain Sandy, but the one and only, my daughter, who I love with all of my heart, Lauren Rae.
Hello.
Welcome to our show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
I was so happy when you said yes to doing this.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about everything.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And if some of you are wondering, a little bit of background with my beautiful daughter. So I adopted her actually at birth. I pulled her out, cut the cord, put her on me, wrapped her up in the blanket that we still have.
Yes.
I won't get rid of that. And took her home. She's literally my miracle child and the love of my life. And I live and breathe for her. One day she'll see that. Just kidding, Lola. But anyway, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, no, I'm excited.
I get quite a few questions about you actually on social media. And I feel like a lot of times I don't feel I should answer that.
Yeah.
I feel like, you have a voice. She has a voice and she's so talented and bright and such a good kid, a great student, loves to sing, dance, produce, edit, everything. But she's very passionate about many subject matters that I don't even know about. And she catches me up on current events all the time. And I love it because she's just very on top of what's going on in the world and all of that. So
Try to be.
yeah, it's amazing. So one of the questions that I get a lot is, how did you feel when I came out with being with a woman?
Personally, I was really okay with it. Obviously, it was hard because, the divorce, but I was more focused on that part. As far as you being with a woman, I don't mind. I'm pansexual myself, although I didn't know that at the time when you came out. But no, I mean, I was pretty accepting. It's definitely a change, and I had to adjust. But I don't know. I love Sandy. She's sweet, and so it was. I mean, it was really okay.
This is all about helping people, right? And just being as raw and real as you feel comfortable being. But, a lot of kids go through divorce and it's hard because, the adults make a decision and you're kind of just have to like go with the decision. You don't really have much of a say. And so, how did you feel, or how did you cope with me divorcing, your dad and leaving our home and going into an apartment?
Yeah, it was definitely pretty hard for me. And I think it took a while for me to kind of like readjust and stuff like that. Um, but overall, especially now, I think like looking back, we've kind of gotten to a good place. We're settled and we have our house and stuff. So I think it ended up turning out really good. But it was definitely really, really hard for me at first. To adjust to everything, and to accept the fact that these two like integral people in my life were splitting up. But I don't know. I think overall it was okay, and it just took time overall for me to like accept it and get used to it and stuff.
Definitely got you in therapy right away, and that was really, really important. So I
Yeah.
encourage definitely to do that for children that are going through that, to have somebody to talk to, right?
Yeah, I definitely think therapy was helpful. It took a while because we've switched therapist a few times, but I think the one I have now I've been with for a while and definitely have a bond, and that was very helpful. And then just overall, like just time, it just took a lot of time for me to kind of like get used to everything that was happening and accept it and feel settled. But now looking back, I think at this point, like I've gotten to a place where it's good and I feel good about it. So
Yeah. And I mean, as a mom, I felt really, really guilty. It's hard not to feel guilty when you love your children so much and you don't want to like make them go through that. So that was very hard. But anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a background, kind of what we've been through, and how, Lolo, what a blessing she is. Um, so how is it now living with Sandy, me and Sandy?
I love Sandy and I love you obviously.
Yeah, you better.
Um, but yeah, I mean, again, I think like earlier, when the divorce first happened, I was like very hesitant to meet Sandy and stuff, and wasn't really like involved in that part of your life. But then obviously we all live together now. So,
Yeah.
but I think overall, it's good. I do my own thing a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But
Hang out down the basement.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. But no, I mean, it's good.
awesome. Yeah. So how is it living with someone who's in so much of the public eye all the time? Like Sandy, we go out places and she's recognized everywhere we go. How do you feel about that?
I mean, honestly, personally, I don't mind it. I think it's pretty cool, to like hear the stories and like hear the different things she experiences, even if I'm not always there. Um, I think it's interesting, and personally, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And like talking to my friends too, and it's like they'll like look up her show or whatever, or look up like who she is or what she does.
Do you watch her show?
I don't really, but I
I know
have
you
in the
don't.
past.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you see her as a captain, Sandy, or you just know her more as Sandy?
yeah, definitely just Sandy.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, I mean, like I said, obviously I've seen like episodes of the show, but I don't really like watch the show. So I've just always known her as like Sandy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people just know her as Captain Sandy, like you guys and stuff. Give us just like maybe one or two things that maybe the viewers don't know about her from a personal level,
Um,
like her personality or.
Gosh, I don't really even know. That's hard. She's very like spontaneous, which is, I mean, again, I don't really know
She definitely
how
is.
she's like seen on the show as much, but she's a very spontaneous person, and like has a lot of energy and stuff all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. She loves
And
Dairy Queen.
does love Dairy Queen, yes. Yeah, loves sweets and ice cream and cookies and all that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
Sandy goes to the store and she's like, "Oh, this is for Lolo. Oh, this is for Lolo." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, this is for you and Lolo."
Yeah.
It's really funny. So, what I love about you too, Lolo, is you now are very supportive for the LGBTQ community. And tell me why.
Yeah, so very recently, I think like almost a year ago now, I came out as pansexual, not to you,
I didn't know.
but to me and to my, friends and stuff like that. So I've been a part of the LGBTQ community like for, a year now. And I recently went to Pride this past Pride month, and it was really awesome. Uh, it was like I don't know, it just felt so accepting, and it was so nice being surrounded by like a huge group of people who all experience the same things and who all relate to you on that same way. I'm definitely very supportive of it, obviously, and
Yeah.
a lot of my friends are also part of that community. So
Yeah, I love it. So I don't know about you all, but even though I am with, Sandy and I'm in that the LGBTQ community as well, I came from the gospel industry as well and stuff. And Lolo corrects me all the time on they
on
on
pronouns.
pronouns. On the pronouns, I'm struggling with that, and I'm just being real about that. And I want to be respectful of that because it's a very real thing. But I'm struggling. So can you explain the pronouns to people who truly don't understand?
Yeah, just like yeah, I can do that. So obviously, what pronouns are is it's the way you address someone, she, her, he, him, they, them. And in the LGBTQ community, um, pronouns is a big thing for trans people. So there's a lot of different gender identities. There's trans men and trans women, but there's also gender fluid people and non-binary people. And non-binary people is the they them you were mentioning. Not all non-binary people use they them pronouns, but a lot of them do. And I've definitely heard you talk about how it's harder for you because obviously you aren't used to using they them for like one person.
Right.
You're more used to using he him and she her. But honestly, it's all the same. It's not really any different. If you were like walking on the street and you found somebody's wallet, you would say, oh, like I wonder whose wallet this is. I hope I can return it to them. And in that case, you're speaking about a singular person. And so what non-binary is, and I'm not personally non-binary, so I don't want to speak too much on it, but
You say you're more pansexual.
Well, so pansexual is a sexuality and non-binary is a gender identity. So sexuality is
See?
about the people you like or the genders that you like. And it can also be about how you like people. So for example, asexuals are someone who just don't enjoy sex and like being sexual. Whereas gender identity is more about the gender that you identify with. Uh, so non-binary people, uh, in general, don't identify with being a man or a woman or any gender. Uh, and so in that case, using they, them would be like the gender neutral
Right,
option.
right.
So that's non-binary. Gender fluid people, and again, everyone's different, but gender fluid people will tend to use like all pronouns or different pronouns on different days and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's really just about learning and
Being
listening.
open to
Yeah,
learning.
just
Yeah.
being open to learning and listening. And if someone is like, yeah, these are my pronouns, and you don't know how to use them, just ask, and they'll explain it to you. And then it's really just about making an effort, in your life to make sure that you're using the right pronouns for people and just listening to people in that community.
'Cause it's
Um,
respectful. It's
yeah,
respectful to
exactly.
who they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's, gender identity, and that's having to do with the issues of pronouns. And then sexuality, like I said, is more about uh, who you like. So for me, I'm pansexual. And for anyone who doesn't know, pansexual means for me that I like everyone, I like all genders with no uh, I don't care about the gender. I care more about the person. And for me, I like all genders.
I
Um,
love that.
so that's what pansexual means. Bisexual can be, some people consider pansexual being a part of bisexual and use it as more of an umbrella term. But bisexual usually means that you like two genders or that you like two or more genders. And then obviously being straight is just liking one gender.
Yeah.
There's thousands of gender identities and of sexualities. And because there's so many, like I said, obviously it can be confusing, but really the best thing you can do is just listen. And if you see or hear about something, or interact with something that you don't know about, just put in a little bit of effort to do some research, or ask someone in your life who knows, and just be open to really, trying to apply that, because it's respectful, and it's really important.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Thank you. I remember when you asked me when I first came out, "Are you a lesbian, mom?"
Yeah.
And I didn't really know how to answer that because I just fell in love with a woman. I didn't really, because I'm also was attracted to men too. So I
Mhm.
guess I would be more bisexual than pansexual.
Yeah.
So, but you know me, I don't really, for me, I don't really put a label on for myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, that all makes really sense. And I definitely am being more open and trying to understand all of this,
Yeah, of
which is so
course.
thank you for educating me with all of this.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I interact with it all the time in my
I
daily
know you do.
life. I have a lot of friends, actually, a majority of my
The
friends,
majority.
who are part of the LGBTQ community, part of the trans community, and so it's something that is, a huge part of my life, and so that's obviously very important to me. And then obviously me being a part of the LGBTQ community, you know, that's gonna be an important issue. Um, I I think it's really awesome how, you know, a lot of the LGBTQ youth, at least that I see, is a lot more open about who they are, and just a lot of the people I see in general these days that are more my age are a lot more accepting, and I think that that's really awesome. I could go on for like hours
It's
talking
going to
about.
take people like you to make changes and
Yeah,
to
yeah,
stand up
totally.
for our rights and all of that. And I love that about you.
Yeah,
You're going to
definitely.
do amazing, great things.
Thank you.
I just know. One of the major topics I also wanted to cover that I know is passionate to you is mental health.
Yeah, totally.
Lolo, I call her Lolo, Lauren, Lolo, has Tourette syndrome.
Dude.
And I found that out when she started having tics in school with the blinking of the eye, the rubbing of the nose, the arm movements. And so I took her to see a neurologist, and he diagnosed her with Tourette's, which comes from her biological mother's side. And basically, I didn't feel the need to put her on any kind of medication because it wasn't affecting your day in and day out life. Like, you were learning how to cope with it and you were doing great in school. And I just didn't want to medicate you personally. I'm definitely not against medication, but for you, I just felt that was just a personal choice for my child. And but with Tourette's comes some mental health issues. And can you kind of tell us about some of the mental health issues that you struggle with day
Yeah,
to day?
totally. So, like you said, with Tourette's, Tourette's and a lot of other conditions have this thing called comorbidity. I believe I'm saying that right. I might be saying it wrong. Um, but it essentially means that when you have one condition, you're a lot more likely to have another condition. So, for me, I have Tourette's. I have uh, major depressive disorder, and then I have OCD and ADHD. So it's a whole bundle of things that all kind of come in a package. But so yeah, mental health has definitely been something that I've struggled with all my life. Tourette's I developed and was diagnosed with in like I don't know, like fourth grade, maybe third or fourth grade. It was in
About
elementary
there, yeah,
school.
elementary school.
Everything else though, I didn't really start experiencing until like seventh or eighth grade. Um, I know my first kind of recollection of when I started experiencing depression was like seventh grade. Anxiety was probably more recently. OCD was like eighth grade, freshman year. So those things have all become more prevalent in the past couple of years for me, and it's been a long road, and I've definitely struggled with it. But like I said, I'm in therapy, and so talking with a therapist, and we eventually got me a psychiatrist who got me on an antidepressant. And I think recently I'm doing a lot better with it. It's hard to give like advice on that sort of thing because obviously mental health is so individualized to each person, and everybody's going to have completely different experiences. But for me, really, starting medication, my antidepressant, helped a lot with my depression. Um, and though I do still struggle with, anxiety and ADHD and all those other things, um, medicating my depression allowed me to have the energy to start working on those other things that were also impacting me. And also, it was hard because it was like COVID, and I did online school for like half a semester, and that was not good at all. Um,
Yeah.
so that just made it 10 times harder. But I definitely think that mental health is a huge issue, and it affects so many people. Um, and everyone says I do think it's talked about a lot, but I think just in general, education is a really important thing, and just you know being able to recognize that what you're dealing with is normal, and it's something that other people experience, and there's ways that you can fix it, and it's really not going to last forever. Now that doesn't mean it's going to clear up in a few weeks. For me, I struggled with depression for like 2 years before getting medicated, but it is definitely fixable and treatable. And yeah, just education. I think if everybody was a lot more aware of different mental health conditions and of things that you can do to help that, just in general, it would be a lot better.
Hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah. And I think just as your mom, like it was hard for me to see you go through that because, a lot of it was like, I thought situational at first. I thought, okay, you just lost your childhood home. Your parents went through a divorce. Your mom ended up with a woman. We end up living in an apartment. Um, my relationship became very, very public. So everything just came crashing down on you at once. Then COVID hit. Then Papa died, and it was just so much. And then on top of that, also having mental health. So as your mom, it was hard to know what to do because the first time I've ever been a mom to a teenager. I've never done this before, and you've never been a teenager before.
Yeah.
So we're both trying to figure out life together and try to figure this out together. And I think the biggest thing I love about us is we talk about it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I force myself on you, like, because I want you to explain and open up to me. Um, but you just don't give up on your kid, and you just keep trying and try to be so patient because you want as a parent to fix things instantly, and you can't. So it is about educating yourself and reaching out to other people that know more than you about the subject to get your child help. Even just recently, we're considering, the brain scanning, to and trying not to do adding more medication into your life, which obviously if that's what we'd have to do, I'm open, but we're trying other alternatives for you, and I love that you're so open to that
Mm.
too, because a lot of kids aren't open to it,
Yeah.
which is what I love about you. And you're very sorry. She mentioned, sugar, and right away you threw away your sugar. Other things we won't talk about that you stopped, you know, getting into to try to self medicate. And I love that about you, that you're willing to do the work and put in the effort for change.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, I think that's another big thing, and obviously it's really really hard when you're struggling with depression to put in effort because you just feel so low energy and your mood's low all the time.
And when you're experiencing depression, like, what do you do that day to try to snap out of that?
There's smaller coping mechanisms that help, like talking to friends and being active and eating right and stuff like that. But really for me, I wasn't able to because it's at the end of the day, there's only so much you can do on your own, and when it comes to being an actual medical diagnosis, there's and medication is not for everyone, but at least for me, the thing that helped the most was just starting medication.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I have noticed a difference for sure. So, are you planning on going to college?
Yeah, totally. I think I mean, I don't really know what I want to do right now. I have a lot of different things that I'm interested in, but
Like,
like I don't know. I have a lot of different things. I like a lot of the arts, I like theater and
she's
singing and stuff.
amazing
Um
actress, singer.
but then I also like technical stuff, and I like politics and activism. I like editing. I like video production. There's a lot of things. So I don't really know what I want to do as of now, but definitely am thinking about going to college. If that will whatever I end up doing, if that's the path that's gonna help me achieve that, then yeah, that's definitely where I'll go.
I love that. Well, I have one more question. Because there's a lot of moms watching this, and maybe they'll show their teenagers. That's the hope behind this, to do the next right thing in life and to give advice and hope to people. That's why we're even sharing about this, is to help people not feel alone. So, what kind of advice would you give a mother-daughter relationship, especially as a teenager?
I think at the end of the day, acceptance and patience is really really important. Speaking to the moms, it's hard as a teenager because not only are you dealing with mental health, but you also don't know who you are, and you're experiencing a lot of things for the first time. And so I think it's really up to the mom or the dad or just the parents in general to give your teenager, if they are struggling, just a lot of patience and a lot of support, because at the end of the day, you're their parent. It's your job and it's your responsibility to take care of them and to support them and to provide for them what they need. So just really really listen to them. I think a lot of parents see their teenagers as children, which we are children, but like it's really really frustrating when you have your own thoughts, and for a fact that like what you're talking about, but adults won't listen to you because they just see you as some kid. I noticed that a lot with even littler kids too, and it really makes me frustrated. I want to later in life, when I'm settled, adopt and maybe foster kids.
I love
So
that.
this is also a really important issue to me. But I think we as a society forget that kids are like humans. Like kids are thinking 24/7 and experiencing things 24/7 just like you are. And so when a kid comes to you and gets dismissed, like that hurts because they're humans. I noticed that a lot of adults talk about children in the same way they talk about pets. They'll talk about their children while they're in the same room with somebody else without even acknowledging that the child is sitting right there. Uh,
Do I do that?
um, Not a whole lot, sometimes.
Okay.
Um, but it's frustrating because it's like that child is a person too, and they're standing there listening to you talk about them as if they're not even there and as if they don't have their own thoughts and opinions and feelings. And it's really, it's upsetting. So just in general, I think the most important thing is recognize that your kid, although they may be dealing with a lot of different stuff and experiencing a lot of different things, they are going through the same things that you are every single day. They're having to get up, and they have responsibilities, and they have stress, and they have social lives. And you being there and listening to what they're saying and understanding from their perspective and just giving them the support that they need is really, really, really important.
Yeah,
So
for sure. But I definitely have my own opinions, and it is my job to protect you. And I have lived more life than you. So sometimes I feel like I do know a little better, but I do want to respect how you feel. And I love everything you just said because it's so important, everything you just said. Because it's one day when you will be a mom, you will see your child as always your baby. You will always be my baby. And it's hard to, sometimes see like, okay, she's growing up.
yeah,
She's, mind
totally.
of her own, like you're starting to drive and it freaks me out that you're driving, and to give you that freedom is very hard,
Yeah. But I mean, and I think that as the parent, that is, you as the parent chose to have a child, and part of that is having a teenager. I think a lot of
Yep.
parents have kids because they want
Amen.
kids. They want children. And then when they grow up, they get mad at them for having their own opinions. And I'm not really speaking about my experience with you here, but just what I've seen in general, you know, uh they get mad that their teenager is turning into their own person. And so I think what parents need to realize is you signed up for this. You signed up for the whole, the whole 18 years. And yeah,
Lifetime.
lifetime. And what comes with that is that your kid's going to change a lot. And so it's your responsibility as a parent to help them through that, and to just,
Not abandoned.
yeah, and to not abandon, and to be there for them in whatever way they need. And I don't necessarily think it's about, knowing more than them, or because obviously there's going to be a lot of situations where you do know more than them. But it's also a lot in the way that you express that to them, because again, if you're with like a friend, like a peer, and you're working on something and it's a topic that you know more than them about, you're not going to talk to them in a demeaning way. You're not going to say, no, we're doing it this way, don't ask questions, because that's hurtful. You can say it in a way that's not hurtful,
Loving.
that's loving. Yeah, exactly. And your teenager isn't always gonna respond the best to that, because I'm a teenager and I'm emotional all the time, and
Me too.
yeah, and I don't always know what's best.
Yeah.
But I definitely think, especially when your kids start getting older, it's so important to them to realize that they again, like, they are their own person. And just saying no with no explanation, or just forcing something on them, is not the best way to help them, and it's not the best way to reach them.
Or ignoring them.
Yeah, or ignoring them.
Yeah. I mean, when you have a fallout with a child or something like that, you, as the adult, make the first step to teach your child, like, okay, we may not agree, but this is what love is. Love is patience and kindness and making amends and hugging each other and loving each other, and you just get through it, right? And you move on to the next, and you learn from it, right? Because there's nothing that you could do that would make me not love you or be your mom, and I will always be protective, and I'll always have your back, and I'm always going to have an opinion, and so will you, and we just learn to listen to each other.
Yeah.
And that's part of being a mom, and you're the best thing that ever happened to me in a million years. You've made me want to be a better woman in my life, and that's the truth. And I love you so much.
Love you too.
And I'm so proud of everything you said.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for doing this with me.
Yeah, of course. This was very fun.
And I think hopefully if people aren't, inspired, which I believe they will be because you're amazing, just click on the link below and record any questions that you might have for Lolo or myself. Do you want them to call you Lolo or Lauren?
Either way. I
Either
don't really
way.
mind.
And we're happy to answer any questions that you guys might have if you're going through any kind of struggles or mental health or struggles with your kids, because it's a very real thing. And we want to be here to support you guys in any way that we can. And you're not alone.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Right?
I agree.
Yeah. I love you.
I love you too.
I'm so proud. Okay. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Nothing's gonna